guys, how's everybody doing tonight? I'm gonna go check in on Chris, see what he's up to. Hey Chris, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. What you doing in here?
Well, I'm listening to the new headphone amp.
Oh, all right. So tell me here, is this the final form?
Well, it's getting pretty close. So, I've had some vendors send me the wrong parts, and then, they sent a replacement for that because the one I actually wanted wasn't there. And then that didn't work out. So just some things like that are causing me to make changes along the way.
Right.
So, some of this may change. I go through another round, but it's getting very close to what we expect the final form.
Getting close.
Yeah, I think the look, the design, the overall aesthetic, I think is we're really close on that.
Tell me a little bit about that design. Now when I'm looking at it, it looks really cool. It almost looks like it has a kind of like a classy muscle car feel to it. Kind of a vibe.
It definitely does. I wanted to use real materials. So there's the 1/8" aluminum faceplate.
Mm-hmm.
The case is made out of solid mahogany,
Mm-hmm.
Finished by hand. So we pretty much put knock out the shape on the CNC, and then take it and I carve on it, and then sand it, and then hand rub oil. So it's just got an amazing finish on it.
I like that you're using as much as you can, like local sellers, keeping it local.
I'm looking at a local fabricator to do the chassis for me.
Uh-huh.
So right now the enclosure is an aluminum prototyping chassis. We're looking at potentially doing a steel chassis with a powder coat. That's going to be done locally.
Mm-hmm.
So excited, to bring that work into Toledo. A small job, but if the head rolling, if the tube rolling preamplifier, once we start to build those, it's gonna bring in more work.
Well, I was going to ask you, because we first started out with the tube rolling machine. What persuaded you to start going on faster with this design than the tube rolling machine?
Right. So the tube rolling preamplifier, we're working on getting the patent.
Right.
And that's going to be time consuming. It could take almost 2 years in some cases, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to start to manufacture. We're going to start to make the tube rolling preamplifiers. But before I do that, I wanted to raise enough capital to be able to know that I'm going to be able to build, X number of those, rather than put 1 or 2 out there into the world and not be able to do any more.
The supply and demand, yeah.
The idea is when we start pushing out tube rolling preamplifiers, we want to be able to keep up with demand. So the circuit board is bolted, under the chassis with these bolts you can see there, and these capacitors and the tube socket are soldered into the circuit board, right? And then the whole circuit board is mounted up through there. So you're actually seeing these are the primary components that process the audio signal.
Well, and I tell you what, I'm a little shaky on this camera. I like the blue lights. I think that's a really cool look. And when I come a little bit closer, you can see definitely the definition of the roundedness there. It's almost like a dashboard, like kind of to a car or something.
Yeah, it's got a classic, very clean lines, wood and aluminum, and it's a neat design. And the grommets, I think, also lend to that, right? And so, when I mounted I wanted to be able to show off the capacitors, because they're part of the sound as well, right? And we're using high quality parts here.
Oh yeah.
And it's not designed, as a portable device. It's something that sits on your desk, sits on your side table, and looks really good.
Right, you're not going to be going down the street with that on your shoulder.
No, I wouldn't drop it. I mean, the tubes are not really portable. They're made of glass,
Yeah.
so they break.
Kind of like how you're sitting there right next to your chair that would stay there permanently. And
Right. Yep. Right. So I wouldn't drop it off the top of a building or anything. It's pretty,
Yeah.
it's good and sturdy. It's as sturdy as it can be, but it's not, a device that is designed for lugging around in a suitcase or whatever. It's for at home.
Okay.
Definitely for home use.
Time spent carving the wood and all the details.
Yeah, I can show you some of the materials that we use in the construction of it. So this is a piece of unfinished mahogany.
Okay,
This
let
is
me zoom in.
Yeah, you can come over here, maybe a little closer.
Okay, this is unfinished mahogany. Okay.
Yeah, this is the raw stuff that we get, right? And then I run it through the CNC,
Okay.
and it looks like this one's got a little bit of, that's part of the wood though. It's all natural, right?
Yeah.
So then the aluminum faceplate slides into the slot here.
Okay.
So this is what one of the finished ones
Oh, yeah.
looks like.
Wow, so that's after hours and hours of hand oil.
Lot of work. Yep. And so, then that's how the case goes together,
Okay.
and you can see that it's.
Like a puzzle.
Yeah, this one is perfectly square, but I thought, I just like the look of the rounded off, like almost like the front fenders of a car.
Yeah.
The etched circuit boards. So you can see that this is where the tube socket goes, and then those capacitors are soldered in here, and then this whole thing is mounted. It mounts. This is a 12 volt. It runs on 12 volts.
Mm-hmm.
You could actually get a large 12 volt battery and plug that in and have it power this. I have one that I use. It sounds fantastic with you run it directly on DC current, but it comes with a wall plug that is going to do the conversion to the 12 volt. And so we didn't really talk about the setup, but I've just got my iPhone hooked into the back of the amplifier, into the input, and I'm playing music on that. And then I've got the headphones, plugged in here, and that's it, right? And so I can listen to the music on my iPhone. Could I use my headphones directly into my iPhone? Absolutely. Does it sound the best? It sounds okay if that's all I have.
Yeah.
But the sound quality that you get by having just a little bit more power to push those headphones, especially the bigger, the higher quality ones, that it has become something that's very popular. So, I feel like that there's a market for these, and that we can use the money from this to buy enough of the materials that we need to really go after the tube rolling device, right? And so, by building all this, I have all these files, and I can reuse these files for the tube rolling preamplifier. So all of this work that I'm doing is actually me working on the tube rolling preamplifier.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it in the context of this headphone amplifier because, I think I can afford to buy, enough of the materials to produce a quantity of these that could then, bring in the cash to do the next push, because the tube rolling preamplifiers are much more expensive. There's 3 times as many tubes, right? I mean, so that brings extra material, extra cost, extra time.
I'm out there on YouTube. I come across this video, and I'm interested in purchasing one. I know they're still, in the design manufacturing stage. That one's amazing. What would somebody need to do? How would somebody go about getting one if they wanted one? Is this strictly for Indiegogo, or can you go ahead and pre-order one or order one and have one custom made?
Well, I wanted to try to do the Indiegogo.
Yeah.
And that these would be like the main perk that people would get for contributions of, $500. But you look at the headphone, the output transformerless headphone amplifier market, and the expensive ones are maybe $300, right? They don't have solid mahogany. They're not handcrafted.
Right.
There's a lot of things that are, it's not sourced in the way that this is. They're mass produced in China, and
and this is a piece of artwork, really. it's something that you're going to have in your home.
It's serviceable. It can be worked on.
Yeah,
So, there's no reason that if, your eventually capacitors get old and wear out, you can replace the capacitors. Everything on here is serviceable. You can open it up and work on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the idea as well.
I want to zoom in on the GlassCity.
Sure.
Let me do that. But yeah, now for those of you who don't know what Indiegogo is, tell them a little bit about what is Indiegogo.
So it's crowdsourcing, basically.
Oh yeah, look at this. Let me get some close-up shots here. We got the standby, your phone jack, your jack phone. What do you call it? Phone jack.
Yep.
Phono jack. Your GlassCity is really cool looking. The knob, the on light.
Yeah, and so these are Solon. These are the input capacitors, and the funny thing is, I flipped it around because it presented the tube better and it looked better that way. But these capacitors in the front are actually the ones that are getting the input, and these in the back are the output, which is actually going to the headphones. So it's kind of flipped around, but aesthetically it looked better, and it was just a little bit longer of a run. I prefer to do a shorter run, but I made some compromise for that. So that's the Solon. These are made in France. These are excellent input capacitors, and then the Nichicon. Those are the highest grade audio capacitors that they manufacture.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to put those on display because we're proud of the quality of the parts that we use in the headphone amp.
Oh yeah.
A lot of the Indiegogo campaign is part of it is. We're looking for input on this stuff, right? And so, as we're making design choices, we're looking for people to participate in that and to help drive, some of that design, to help drive some of those choices on the features that are going to be included ultimately, right? And, that's part of the campaign. And so the contribution is to help, get the company started, and the perk really is, showing the appreciation for that level of contribution, right? So, it's not, maybe, could you get a headphone amplifier cheaper off Amazon? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the point of the thing. It's not just that you need a headphone amplifier. It's, to be able to participate in that creative process and provide, feedback and valuable information that will ultimately form what this looks like, but this is really just a means to an end, which is going to be the tube rolling.
Mm-hmm.
And people are interested in the tube rolling preamplifier. We've gotten a huge response.
Yes.
And we want to get it built, but we want to build it right.
Yeah.
And we don't want to rush into market and not be able to produce any of them.
Right.
So if this goes well and we get enough funding to go to the next step, then we'll do another Indiegogo campaign that would be for the tube rolling preamplifiers.
Okay.
Right? And then that round of funding would go to getting to the next level. But we want to do high quality, just amazing sounding audio.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to help establish, I think, that foothold
Oh yeah.
for quality. And then that'll drive into the other products as well.
Yeah.
We're definitely, love feedback, what you think about the look and the feel of it.
Yeah, let me get a little bit closer on that curvature of that wood.
So the form and the function, are really blended together, because the layout, this is the way that these have to be set up.
Yeah.
And that's, been incorporated into the look. Mm-hmm. It almost looks like a little city from down here, GlassCity, and it's got like a little city type thing,
yeah,
like a little
buildings.
cityscape, kind of a sense, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
So I thought about doing GlassCity Amplifier without the S on it, like this is a GlassCity Amplifier, and we're GlassCity Amplifiers. Mm-hmm. I don't know. If you think that's a cool logo just by itself, let us know. Or if you think it should say GlassCity Amplifiers.
Oh yeah, comment down below then if you see this video and if you think GlassCity Amplifier would be better or just GlassCity. Which, for those of you who don't know, Toledo is the GlassCity.
Right. I chose the mahogany because it's just beautiful looking wood.
It's gorgeous. If you see here, this doesn't give it justice, but all the
It's got a gold, just a hue, almost a three-dimensional quality to
the
it.
dimensional look to it is fabulous.
Now this back rail is actually Sapel. It's a like a replacement or a form of mahogany, because this only came in 3/4 inch thickness and this came in 1/2 inch. I just needed a 1/2 inch for the rail, and we're incorporating that in. I think it looks perfect with that.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, I like that choice of wood.
Yeah, and so these capacitors, there's other choices. The Elna, I've got some of those. I'm thinking about maybe I could do some versions with a different. I could use Panasonic. I could use Elna. If you have a favorite brand of high-grade audio capacitor, do you think they would work better in this application? We'd be willing to look at that. So, we're looking for some guidance from the crowd mind, the group mind, to help make a better product. I think it's paying off. It's really starting to take shape. The other one I had the wood rails in the front, and I think taking them off gave it a part of that.
Oh yeah, it just totally opened it up, and it is like a little city.
And then the cityscape, it's got to get these elements that blend together. That it does have kind of a masculine muscle car look and feel to it.
Does it come in pink?
And we can definitely do that. If we do the powder coated versions, we can do whatever color we like for the top of the chassis.
Pink and purple.
Yeah, and for setting the bias, so I have some ports up here that there's a potentiometer. I use a little like eyeglass screwdriver to adjust the bias.
Yeah.
And there's ports in the back where you can hook your multimeter to be able to check the voltage. Because when you change the tube, you need to rebias, right? And so I wanted to make it easily accessible. So we can maybe take another time and look at some of that. But then, I'd like to incorporate the meters right into the chassis here, so that if you change the tube, you can adjust the bias without having to go find your multimeter and hook it up through the back. It would all be integrated. So I've actually the layout is built to do that. It may be subsequent versions. We make so many of these, and we can start incorporating some additional things like that. That's something I want to look at as well. Right?
Sounds good.
So awesome. Well, thanks everyone for watching. I hope you liked the video. We look forward to the Indiegogo. We wanted to get it kicked off pretty quickly in second quarter. It may be we've got to get things lined up with getting the chassis built and getting the circuit boards. We're going to look at see if we can't get those built, and I can do all the cabinet case and assembly. We can get that going here. So like and subscribe.
All right.
Don't forget. Thanks.
Sounds good.
See ya.